Greetings, all. It's Dr. Bankhead here at the Struggle in Thinking Out Loud. This is part 13. Self love is the portal to joy. I started this series to share how being in a posture of loving yourself wholly, totally, and completely will bring you to a place of complete joy. How do I know this? Why do I say it? Why do I believe it? How do I know it? I know it because I've experienced it. In my early years, I experienced childhood abuse. It was physical, mental, and emotional. It was never sexual. I was beat, I was beaten, and the procedure that was used for the beatings were harsh and inhumane, and I had no protectors, and I was never comforted. I'm an only child. Many people assume that as an only child I was spoiled. Oh, that used to make me so angry that people thought I had it easy because I was an only child, when it was quite the contrary. I was getting beat on quite a regular occasion, and I had no one to comfort me. I had nowhere to turn. And it wasn't always that way. The first 3 years of my life were kind and gentle. I had a babysitter who I believe was a witch. And she babysat me from the ages of 3 and 4. And then at the age of 4, my mother took me away from the babysitter, who claimed that she loved me more than anything in the world. And she even found a little girl to bring home in place of myself, so that she could pour her love out into this little girl. That was the idea. That was what I came away with. And I noticed that now, in recollection, in hindsight, as I look back over the years, that that's when the abuse started. After I was no longer being babysat by her. Maybe there was some thought that if I was abused in my home, I would come running to her. I don't know. It's conceivable that there was some kind of spell put on my family so that my stay in the house would be a hardship. Not only was I being beat on a regular basis, I really wasn't allowed to socialize or go to parties because without a written invitation, I wasn't allowed to go. Now, don't get me wrong. Comparing my life to the life of others. Dave Peltzer, the little boy that they called It, that was horrible, horrible situation. And the children that live in the garbage piles in like the Philippines and Brazil, very hard, very harsh. The children that work in the sweatshops in Asia, very harsh, very hard. I'm not comparing my situation with theirs. I would dare not compare my situation with theirs. However, for me, my life, I felt very victimized. I was being beat at the house. I was not allowed to go out and play when I was being punished. I couldn't go out in the rain, but I wasn't to disturb my parents. I wasn't able to watch everything on TV. It wasn't that terrible. I survived it, but I came away feeling like I had no value. I was beat. I was beat down. I was beat for things that children, hey, you don't beat them for it, you know? Some things children are doing, they need to be trained but not beat. And the manner in which I was beaten was inhumane. And I'm not going into that now. But I had low self worth, low self esteem, and I was told that I was never going to amount to anything, that I walked like a farmer, that I laughed like a hyena. I was constantly demeaned and criticized in the home and in society, in the stores, followed around everywhere you go, people prying over your shoulder to see what you're putting in your bag, if you're going to pay for it or not. It was very harsh. My situation in the work world, I would struggle to receive a certain level and it would be pulled out from under me. Um, I had higher education, but I was always had to start at the bottom and work my way up. But working my way up always wound up knocking me down. I'd have a job that I studied for and gotten after 3 months. All of a sudden, they were doing a change in the office. They were switching, or some shakeup, something always happened. So I was very depressed. I was depressed from my childhood. I was depressed as an adult. I was so stressed out on jobs. I mean, I struggled to get up to go to work, and when I came home, it was like all I could do to make it to the bed and get up and start all over. It was Groundhog Day continuously. I couldn't see where I was living the life of my dreams. And then in 2012, around about 2012, there was a lot of discussion about the law of attraction, and I looked into it. And they said to reach for a higher level thought. And I was like, how do you get to a higher level thought? I mean, I couldn't see any way out of that. I couldn't see my way out at all. They said, feel happy, feel joy, reach for the happiness. I couldn't reach for the joy or the happiness. I mean, I was barely making ends meet, living paycheck to almost not paycheck at all. But I had pennies in the bank. I could always get my penny bank and I could make it until payday. Anyway, this is part 13, and I'll continue in part 14. This is Dr. Bankhead thinking out loud at the struggle end. I'm grateful, for I am fully great. All right, see you again soon.